Okay. Good morning, everyone. लीक कर रहा है. Good morning, everyone. So today we will proceed with later Vedic phase, and one of the most important subtopics is condition of women. Now, the freedom which women had enjoyed in the Rig Vedic phase, that was totally lost in later Vedic phase. So, the very first thing, women, they lost importance in society. And how can we say that? Because two things, sati and child marriage, though they were rare, and child marriage, then last time we discussed that women were not allowed to attend assemblies, and in fact one of the assemblies which women used to attend, it lost significance, or rather we can say that it ceased to exist. So they were no longer permitted to attend assemblies. They have been counted as vice along with dice and wine. So in the later Vedic age, they were counted among one of the vices. So, daughter has been referred to as a source of sorrow in one of these sources. Plus, additionally, one thing which needs to be understood that in Rig Vedic phase, even the women were allowed to offer sacrifices along with their husband, but this was not permitted during later Vedic phase. Okay. Social organization. So it was a Varna based society. We know about all the four Varnas, that is the four Varnas as we know: Brahmanas, Kshatriyas, Vaishyas, and Shudras. These were the four Varnas. So one thing is to be remembered that the Brahmanas were in the beginning one of the 16 priestly classes, and gradually with the passage of time, Brahmanas became the most dominant priestly group, and they emerged as the most important priestly group. One of the 16 classes of priests. But gradually overshadowed the other priestly groups, and emerged as the most important class. Now, in one of the texts, uh, Brahmana has been termed as a seeker, and the Kshatriyas, they have been termed as the giver. So, the authority of Kshatriyas was because of the Brahmanas, wherein Brahmanas, they used to offer sacrifices, they performed all the rituals on the behalf of the princely class, that is kings and princes, the Kshatriyas, and it was because of those sacrifices, it is believed, that the princes, they were able to hold their authority. So Vaishyas, they consisted of the common people, and they were assigned to do producing functions, including agriculture, cattle rearing. Okay. Now the question arises, when exactly did they become traders? Some of them also worked as artisans. Towards the end of Vedic period, they, that is the Vaishyas, they began to engage in trade. To be the only tribute pairs in the later Vedic time. So this we have already discussed that Vaishyas were the only taxpayers, and the Kshatriyas and Brahmanas, they got rich because of the tribute paid by the Vaishyas, and additionally they used to keep the largest portion of uh, the war spoils for themselves only. So there was a common feature between all the three upper varnas. So they shared one common feature. The very first feature was Upnayan or according to the Vedic mantras. So the upper three classes, they were also known as Dvij or twice born. So Shudras and Chandals, that is, these two, they were referred to as the outcasts, Shudras and Chandals. They were deprived of the sacred thread ceremony and they were even forbidden to recite Gayatri Mantra. Okay. However, one thing is to be noted that in this very fourth Varna, we find mention of Rathkar or the chariot maker. Chariot maker enjoyed high status and were to the sacred thread ceremony. Okay, so they were allowed to have Upanan, and in fact they were even allowed to recite Gayatri mantras, which was not the case with the remaining sections of the Shudras. Okay. So, caste system was very stringent. It was religiously practiced. It was widespread, And we rarely find instances of intercaste marriage. Now, exogamy was there. So, we do find mention of Anulom and Vilom marriages. If a person belonging to Shudra, if uh, the husband is of Shudra, his Varna is Shudra, and the wife is of from any of the higher Varnas, then that was uh, Pratilom or Vilom marriage. And if the you can say if the both the persons belong to the same varna, then it is anulom marriage. But we rarely find any instance wherein a girl of a higher varna marries to a person belonging to shudra varna. Okay, so and which restricted the social mobility. So there was a lot of social mobility in the Rig Vedic phase. This was missing in the later Vedic phase. To the power of the Brahmins. So was largely confined to the Dvij castes. And began with the investiture ceremony, that is Upanayan. Now, one factor is to be noted that even women were initiated sometimes. So, we can say that even women attained education in the later Vedic phase. So, Gotra, it appears at this point of time. Now, Gotra was the underlying fact behind the concept of Gotra is the common ancestry of two individuals or different individuals. If they shared a common ancestor, then they had the same Gotra, and Gotra was named on the names of famous sages, seers like Bhargav, Bhardwaj, Vats, Shandilya, Vishwamitra. So it was like this, that they had one common ancestor. It signified descent from a common ancestor. No marriage could take place between persons belonging to same Gotra. For life were prescribed but were not religiously followed. So the four ashrams: brahmacharya, grihast, vanprasth, and sannyas. So these were the four ashrams. Now the point to be remembered is that if they were not religiously followed, please remember that only these first three ashramas have been mentioned in the later Vedic texts, and only these three were religiously followed. Rarely we come across the fourth ashram coming into picture. Okay, so good morning, Arish. So this is all we have today. This is all we have today. Next class will be dealing with later Vedic phase religion, and then after that we'll be dealing with the later Vedic age texts, that is Samved, Yajurved, Atharvaved, Brahmanas, Aryankas, Upanishads, then Upavedas as well. And in the end, we'll have one session of question answer as well, like which types of questions have been asked in the past, and what could be the possible questions based upon those past question papers, or rather based upon the changes which can be seen in case of BPSC and UPSC as well. Okay, so thank you for today. You won't be having any other class today. Okay, so thank you for today.